Okay, so today we're taking a deep dive.
Right?
We're diving deep into Ramadan, but not just like, the basics.
Right.
We're going beyond that. We're going deep. We're really exploring the why, the impact.
The how and the why.
Yeah. And we've got this great excerpt from an article all about the benefits of Ramadan. And let me tell you, it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah. And, fasting, it's not just a Muslim thing, It's in a lot of different cultures and religions.
That's true.
So it's something that has been around for a long, long time. Really interesting.
Absolutely. So this article really emphasizes this whole spiritual growth side of Ramadan.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty cool, right? It talks about deepening your faith, boosting self-discipline. And then there's this concept of taqwa, which I've heard of, but...
Right. So taqwa is basically like God consciousness.
Okay.
It's really about being aware of God.
In every aspect of your life.
Yeah. Like in everything you do. And it really ties in with the whole fasting thing, because you're making this conscious choice.
Right. To give something up.
Exactly. Something so basic as food and drink, but for a higher purpose,
Yeah.
And it really, it can lead to this really powerful connection with your faith.
I see. So it's not just resisting temptations.
It's more than that.
You're actively doing good, like this whole concept of zakat.
Right. So zakat, that's one of the pillars of Islam, right? It's like almsgiving. It's obligatory for Muslims who can afford it. Basically, a certain percentage of your wealth.
You give it to those in need.
Exactly.
So it's almost like this social responsibility aspect to it, too.
Absolutely. And it's also about sharing, sharing your blessings. And it's not just about zakat. There's also sadaqah, which is more like voluntary charity.
You can do that anytime.
Yeah. And it's encouraged all year, but especially during Ramadan.
So it's not just about like personal, piety. It's
Right.
like personal growth and social responsibility all at the same time.
Exactly.
But okay, we got to talk about the physical stuff because the article actually mentions weight loss.
Oh, yeah. And blood sugar regulation.
Yeah. Which is kind of surprising.
Well, it kind of makes sense, right? I mean, you're giving your digestive system a break. And this is where it all connects to like intermittent fasting.
So popular now.
Super trendy. But the idea is pretty simple. Your body gets to cleanse itself. And some studies even show it triggers something called autophagy.
Autophagy. Now that one rings a bell.
Okay. Think of it like spring cleaning.
Spring cleaning.
But for your cells.
Okay.
So like your body breaks down and recycles all the old damaged stuff in your cells.
Okay, that actually makes sense.
And some researchers think fasting can like jumpstart this whole process.
Yeah.
Which is, pretty amazing.
Yeah, because that could affect aging, diseases, so many things.
Exactly. It's really fascinating stuff.
It really is. But okay, we've got to move on to the mental and emotional benefits. This is the part I find really interesting.
Okay, yeah.
Because the article, it talks about how Ramadan can help with anxiety and depression.
Interesting, yeah.
Which at first you're like, wait, really?
Yeah.
But when you think about it, you're so focused on this bigger purpose.
You're not so caught up in the day-to-day.
Yeah, like the everyday stresses kind of fade away. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. It's all about perspective. When you experience hunger, you become so much more aware
of what you have.
Yeah. And less focused on what you don't have.
Yeah. And the article also mentions gratitude.
Yes. And that's huge, right? And then there's the whole community aspect too, which is so uplifting. Especially when you compare it to, like, how much isolation people feel these days.
That's true. And that's a perfect segue into the social benefits.
Right.
It's not just a personal journey. It's about, connecting with your family, the community. The article even talks about families, eating together, praying together.
And that shared experience, that really strengthens those bonds.
Absolutely. And it's not just immediate family.
Right. It goes beyond that. Like we talked about with zakat and sadaqah. It's about helping those less fortunate.
And that kind of generosity ripples out,
Exactly. It creates this wave of compassion throughout the whole community. And it's a really powerful reminder that we're all connected.
We really are.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's amazing how this ancient tradition, it aligns with a lot of what we're finding in modern science.
It really is.
Like our source mentions detoxification, boosting the immune system.
Right. And there's definitely more research needed.
Always.
But there's a growing interest in all this, the potential of fasting for, just overall health.
Right.
But it's important to be balanced, right?
That's
It's
right.
not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
No, definitely not. And talk to your doctor. Always a good idea.
Always good advice.
So as we wrap up, I think it's pretty clear. Ramadan, it's way more than just not eating. It's spiritual growth, physical well-being, connecting with something bigger.
You got it. And it makes you think,
Yeah.
like what parts of this really speak to you?
That's a good question.
Yeah. And how can you maybe, incorporate some of these principles into your own life, regardless of your beliefs?
That's something for everyone to ponder.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everybody. Until next time, keep exploring.
Keep exploring.